Well, I have the water running for the first time. This is more of a flush out period than anything. See the water running pretty good. It's a really good pump. I got like the biggest one they have. I got this netting. You get like 25 of these things for like 20 bucks or something. It's super duper cheap over on Amazon. I have to put the link in the description for all this stuff. But anyway, this will prevent the perlite. I'm going to put the perlite in here, and that's going to be my medium to put the tomato plants in this instance. Put the tomato plants in those, and that's what's going to support them, at least their root system. And then, of course, I'm going to have to support them with these 2x4s here. But this is the first little cleanup period. See if there's leaks and make sure that everything's flowing the way it should. So everything's coming in here, keeping the roots nice and watered. And then eventually, once this fills up to a certain amount, it provides enough pressure, it'll feed out of this tube and down the drain back into the reservoir. At the moment, I have a series of issues. So this right here, where the water comes in, it's a little float valve. So if the valve isn't floating, the little bubble in there isn't floating, of course the water is going to flow in, and then as soon as it is floating, the water turns off. It's a nice little simple invention, but it'll work perfect to make sure the water stays up to stuff. And then when I get the water barrels, the rain collection barrels set up outside with filters and all that jazz, they'll actually do the supplying of this, not the household water, because the household water, the pH is like all off. And then this right here, so I got a little leak down here. Up here, I got the little manifold, the little 4-port manifold. I think I'm going to switch to an 8, because the 8's a little bit more advanced, so you can turn on and off different ones, and you got some more flexibility. But anyway, this one seems to be leaking. I'm not sure where it's leaking at. It could be where the hoses are attached. I don't know. It's from a sprinkler system over at Lowe's, and you can get the 1/4-inch hoses and the manifold and everything, and they're not too expensive, so it worked out pretty well for this. And it's more than enough to supply the plants. So you can see a little puddle of water right there, so I got to fix that. And then drain goes in here. I did seal this right here with the glue. I'm using the this little epoxy cement stuff. I think what it's doing is actually melting the plastic to make that really good seal. But anyway, kind of nasty. Don't smell that stuff. So that's this right here is just loose, so I can take it off. Is there any water flowing? Oh, I do have some water flowing. I don't know if that's seeable, but it is flowing back in now, so nice. So something's doing its thing. Let's see if it's this one here. A little bit, not bad. Nothing there yet. It's got a little bit. So these little grommets here went everywhere. To Lowe's, Home Depot, to Harbor Freight, to Northern Tool. Nobody had the correct grommets. I've purchased them before for the small little system I have in the garage from Home Depot, and they had the right kind of grommets. Well, right kind. They worked, let's put it that way. And I only got 2, I think. So obviously not enough for this setup. And so I went back to get some more, and of course they don't have any. Heaven forbid you should be stocked. But I went ahead and purchased 25 of them from Amazon. These guys right here. And they work pretty good. You use a 1/2-inch bit similar to this one. There we go. This one's an inch one. I was cutting a hole for the power line coming out of the pump over there, but get a 1/2-inch one, and you drill your buckets, and then you put your grommets in. Then you have to like put spit on the hose or something, or on the pipe or something to get it in there, because it's a tight fit, which is good. I mean, that means it ain't gonna leak, so that's good. The one I have in there, it's a black bucket. These right here are from Lowe's, these buckets, and they were like, I don't know, $2, $2.50, something like that, real cheap. If you get the black buckets, and the one I have is from an actual hydroponic place that's local, they cost like $8 or $6 or something like that. Then you got to buy the little caps that go on them that hold the netting for the plants, and Those are like another, you know, $6, $7, something like that. So bought these from Amazon as well. I don't remember what I paid for them, but they were substantially cheaper, and bought 4 of them. So yeah, here's one right there. And this is the piping that I'm going to use for the one that's in the garage right now, because that piping isn't going to work for this. So you can see how it's 2 elbows just attached to a little 1/2-inch PVC pipe, cut to fit more or less. And so, let's see if I can get this off. It spins. Anyway, shove that into the little grommet, which is not easy when it's into the bucket there, and because it just barely fits. You really got to work it. And then, so I can set you in such a way as to, apparently not. Okay. Anyway, so the theory behind this, get these 2 in here and you have them both facing down. So this one, for instance, is inside the bucket facing down. This one's outside, of course, facing down. Then you have the little piece right here that goes into the drainage pipe here, just like this. So what will happen is, this is roughly, I don't know, not even a 1/2 inch off the bottom of the bucket, and the bucket will fill up, and it won't immediately go down the tube. It'll actually allow the bucket to fill up a certain portion. I'd say like 1/3 or something like that. Well, let me just take a look, so that way we know for sure. Maybe. So we've got, yeah, maybe a 1/4 filled up. So it comes to pretty much the top of that PVC elbow, and yeah, it is still, yep, draining good. So that comes to the top of it, and then finally provides enough pressure to go down the pipe, trickle down, and yay. Oh, of course it won't trickle when I'm lifting it up, genius. But anyway, it'll go down the pipe, drain, and make the circuit. And that's what makes sure that all the plants are not only watered continuously, but also have all the nutrients they need. It goes back to that reservoir and collects more nutrients and comes back over and feeds the plants. So, pretty nice little system. Just a little bit of work to get there, of course. You gotta wait for all the parts from Amazon. It's not an instant thing, unfortunately. The pump I got, and I got the box inside. I'll have to show you guys the box. It's like one of the biggest ones they have. It's got a head pressure able to push the water up like 12 feet. It's a real decent pump. And I wanted really good. I didn't want any problems with not having enough head pressure, because I wanted this whole system to be expandable. So eventually I'm thinking of getting the 2-inch or maybe even bigger PVC pipe, and doing kind of a back and forth thing between these 2x4s, that 2x4 there, and this 2x4 here, and providing a small plant area where it'll come all the way from this level all the way up to the top, and it'll be for things like lettuce and, you know, small plants. And the nutrients, of course, will have to be pumped all the way to the top. So, I mean, far less than 12 feet, obviously. Be pumped all the way to the top, and then they'll flow down this whole cascade of PVC pipes until it finally winds up back in the reservoir. So that's kind of the plan I got right now, but that'll happen in the future. I wanted to get this up and running first, see how well it works, see if everything is the way it's supposed to be, and then start working on something like that. And it won't cost too much now that I've got this stuff all in place. And this stuff, well, I mean, it wasn't expensive at all. These were like, I don't know, $6 for the 2-inch. And I had to have I bought another 2-inch. It's stupid how they price things. You can buy a 2-foot 2-inch pipe, and that'll cost you like $5. Or you can buy a 10-foot or a 6-foot or 8-foot or whatever it was 2-inch pipe for like $6 or $7. It's like, okay, so I'll buy 2 large pipes, and I'll just cut off what I need and use that, which is fine because I had extra to make that little piece, and you know, you can always use it somewhere. But it's pretty dirt cheap, and you can make a system like this. And then of course the 1/2-inch pipe isn't all that expensive. You buy, you know, 6-foot pieces for just a few bucks, and cut them as needed. And if you have to, use the PVC cement. I'm going to be checking to see if I have to. None of these pieces right here are cemented right now. I did cement the one in the garage just because it seemed like a good idea, but now that I'm working with it, I didn't do these ones just in case I wanted to change them out at any point. And it seems to be fine. There's no leaks on any of these at all. So I don't think I'm going to have to cement these. and they just drain right in, and there's no real pressure, so I'm not too worried about that. That holds for the next one from the garage whenever I get that done. Currently my plants are not being watered. I have to go in every 15 minutes or so and put a ladle full of water over top of the roots so that way they stay wet and get their nutrition. So at this point everything seems to be doing really well. The water actually shut off feeding the reservoir. That turned off, so the float valve's doing its job, and it's all pumped into these guys here. So these guys are, whatever, a 1/4 inch full. They're right about here full. So each one of those is there. And then that one's completely full all the way up to the top where that float valve is. And the water's not running into it. So this is all good. This is about what it'll sound like all the time. Water running. Except it'll be running over the perlite. And I'll show you what the perlite looks like real fast. This right here, you get a huge bag, and it weighs like 5 pounds. It's like nothing, and it costs nothing too. It's like 20 bucks for this huge bag, but this is all it is. It reminds me of styrofoam, and it's real dusty and kind of nasty to breathe, so you got to be careful with that. But it's a good filler. It doesn't really do anything to the plants per se, but it's a good filler, and it's really, really cheap. And that's actually the reason for the netting, is you don't want that crap clogging up your pump or anything. In fact, I have one of these around my pump just to prevent any debris or anything from getting into the pump and into the filter and then eventually clogging things up and causing a problem. But that perlite, super cheap, super light, and it'll hold the plants, and it holds water really well, you know, keeps it moist. So that'll go in here right on top inside the netting, so there's no risk of anything getting into the system, and then the plants will go into there, everything will be happy. That is the plan anyway. So I'm going to, right now this is just to clean this pipe out. This pipe right here is extremely dirty, and of course you got plastic shavings and whatnot from the buckets from when I drilled. You know, you try to clean it as best you can, but you can't get everything. So this is more or less to flush the system, get it into the reservoir, and so the next step, now that this has been running for a little while, is to make sure the reservoir is seated properly. There's rocks all around it supporting it and holding the water. Make sure all the leaks are taken care of, because obviously I got 1 or 2 there. And then of course I'm going to pump everything out, clean out the reservoir, make sure it's all spick and span, and then start the process over again, get the water with the nutrients in it for my current stage of growth inside the garage, and get the pH set right, allow it to run a little bit, probably test pH again just to make sure nothing's changed, because when you're using tap water out of the house, it's not good water. They put all kinds of calcium, or not calcium, but basically bleach into the water to kill things, and a little bit is fine for the plants. It doesn't hurt it or anything, but I don't want a ton of it either. So once the water's actually into the buckets and it's allowed to aerate, that'll all evaporate out anyway. So I'm not too worried about it, but I do have to let it run just a little bit before I actually put my plants in here, just to make sure that nothing nasty is going to happen to things. But everything's flowing really well. Yeah, still got a drip there on the reservoir for the water inlet. I don't know if that's the actual fitting I'm using or not. Had to go from the 3/4 inch standard hose size fitting or size down to the 1/2 inch, which is what the float valve uses, and I'm not certain which part is leaking there, but you can just barely make out a leak maybe. So anyway, and I do want to drill one more big hole into the top of that reservoir to be able to do my nutrient and pH checks. Let's look in here and see what we got, if we can. Yeah, full of water. There's the bag over top of the pump. Good sized pump. I don't know if you can see the float valve in there. There you go. So it's floating, not allowing water to flow back in. That's excellent. It's doing really, really well. And then you can see, of course, the drainage from the drain hose there. So, and then there's the air pump that's going to be mostly used just to put air back into the water that the plants and standard usage kind of eat up. And I have I think it's like a 10-inch long air stone that I'll be putting in here as soon as I find it again. I bought it like 2 weeks ago and misplaced it, so I got to find that. But I didn't want that clogged up with anything in the system right now anyway. So once I get everything flushed out, then I'll go ahead and put it in. And that'll be good. And I got to do something else with the electricity because that hanging there is probably not a good permanent thing. But maybe an extension cord or something. But anyway, figure all that stuff out and get this thing not leaking. That would be a very good thing. And go ahead and get the perlite in here, get the plants in here, and see what happens. Just checked the pH of the household tap water, and this is the meter I'm using. Just got it a couple weeks ago. It's not too bad, a little guy. But just checked it, 8.2. And for reference, you want your stuff to be between like 5.5 and 6.5. So 8.2 is a little on the alkali side. So I'm gonna have to add an acid to the water. This is from the household, so yeah, crappy stuff. But anyway, those leaks, I've worked my butt off to try to get those leaks fixed as far as tightening them and whatnot. Still leaks like a sieve. So I got some more of this stuff. This, was it vinyl tape or plumber's tape? But it's Teflon, I think. Anyway, I'm going to re-Teflon it. It's already been Tefloned once, but I'll do it again and see if I can get it to not leak. Other than that, I'm going to have to buy new fittings because they could just be bad fittings, which is highly possible. But I'm going to try to get this sucker to not leak and go from there. So, just did the perlite. This is the stuff right here that's damp. Like I said before, it comes in that big bag, but it's full of like dust and whatnot. So what we did is took off the netting, filled the bag, I don't know, 3/4 of the way full with perlite, and went outside and ran the hose on it for quite a little while, then kind of washed off all of that dust and debris off the larger particles, and did that for a few minutes, and then let it drain, and came in here, plopped it into the bucket, and you can kind of see the result. A lot better stuff. It won't pollute the water so badly. So that's what we're left with in all 3 buckets. And like I said, I'll do the 4th one later. That's currently housing all the tomato plants. And trying to get the pH down. Started out at 8.2, and I put in 2 full pipettes of acid, and that got me to 7. So I just put in another 2, and now I have to wait and see how things go and see if it gets it down to about 6. Also just put in about 3/4 of a cup of each of these, since the tomato plants I have are into the bloom cycle. I computed that to be roughly 3/4 of a cup, so we'll see. Might have to tweak that, but should be happy. So anyway, it's getting there, very close. Oh, I did manage to take care of those leaks. Had to redo the Teflon tape, and that fixed that one. This one right here, I just took out of the lid where it was being housed and just pulled it out, and now the pipe is coming straight out. Got a little paper towel just to make sure the bugs don't go in there, and retightened it, and then it was happy. And then sprung a leak over there where the hose comes out, and re-Teflon taped that one, and part of it was happy. Then the hose itself decided to break, so I kind of crimped it a little bit, so it's happy at the moment. So at the moment we have no leaks, which is a good thing. But we got to go buy another hose or some way to crimp that one, whichever. I have to get this in, the little 10-inch little air wall aerator. Get that put in, hook it up to the pump, get the pump hooked up, get the air moving, wait about 15 minutes or so, and then start transplanting some plants. And hopefully they're happy in this little environment. We will see. It's getting warm in the greenhouse, I can tell you that. Okay, I keep referring to it, but this is the hydroponics I had in the garage. Real simple design. This right here is the black bucket I keep talking about. And I got a smaller cap on there with the net that I'm replacing with the bigger one, and there's actually 2 tomato plants in here. This one for this back has actually got little blooms. I don't know if I can get it to focus. This light doesn't really help. The lights are blue and red LEDs, which you can't see in this. But gives the plants, you know, really good lighting. But in fact, these ones are growing like crazy. These ones over here, this was a, what was that called? The 3D hydroponics, 3D ponics, that's what it was. Anyway, printed these guys and got some 2-liter bottles, and there's a bug. And did this deal. It's not really meant for tomato plants. As you can tell, it had to reposition this light up here several times. This one was the happiest, but it got too close to the light, and then it wasn't happy no more. But anyway, got some issues on some of these. They're basically just not happy in this environment. And I don't blame them. I should have planted smaller items. But these grew from, what, about 3 or 4 inches tall to whatever. They're well above a foot now. And there's just not room for them, unfortunately. But, and there's my little reservoir there. And that has a little bitty pump in it that I have off right now because I'm using the 1/2-inch line over in the new hydroponic section. And so every 15 minutes or so, I got to come in here, get my, oops, more difficult with one hand, get my water, make sure this is, the roots stay happy and moist. And then same thing with this. This one right here, it's kind of an ingenious design. It just doesn't work very well for tomato plants, but you put the water in the top, not spill down the side like I'm doing, and trickles all the way down and feeds all the plants. It's kind of a neat little design. And to get the water up there, I have a little air hose. It's hooked up to the aerator air pump that I have outside now. And it uses this guy right here, which I've actually had to redesign. Ventrili setup, whatever it is. So anyway, you get air. I actually have water pumping in to the bottom to make it work proper. And then you got air on both these sides, and then this right here is what actually the middle is what actually travels up. So what happens is the air comes through here, comes up this pipe, and it kind of forces along with the air the water from this side. And it never really worked quite right. I got it to work once or twice, but it's kind of a big pain in the ass, and as soon as something happened, it would stop, and it just sucked. So anyway, when the system's running, it pulls a whole lot of air, which aerates the water, pulls a whole lot of air with the water up the pipe, all the way up the top, and then shoots down and then trickles down. I got it to where it worked really, really well, but I had to really tweak that particular version, basically redesign what was on the 3D Ponics site to make it work proper, especially for this height, because this is really, really tall. But it worked. It worked for, I don't know, a month. And now it's definitely time to get these things transplanted. First 3D print, by the way. Little guy. So, little minion. And then this is the 3D printer right here. But, so it'd be nice to get all this water away from the electronics. And this guy right here is a Raspberry Pi that's doing the Octoprint. And it's all messed up. That's why I haven't been doing any 3D printing videos, is because this right here, which is supposed to be taking the 3D printing videos, keeps locking up like halfway through the print. So I'll waste, I don't know how much plastic on this silly thing. And then it'll get all the way to, you know, halfway through or 3/4 of the way through, and then it'll just stop. It says I'm done. So I've got to rebuild that, basically format the SD card, we put back on the Octopi image, redo all the settings, and then I could trust it again. But right now it's not happy. And this is just a quickie little thing I made. It has a couple of relays on it. Oops. And so the Octoprint actually controls the relays, which I control via the internet, to turn on and off the lights for the hydroponic. Or no, this right here is for the 3D printer. So it turns on the light that I have up right here, and then turns on the printer itself, all from the internet, so I can control it while I'm at work, just in case something goes awry. And normally I have the webcam hooked up, and I can watch everything and kind of control everything. It's pretty nice, but that thing's been acting up, so I can't trust it anymore. And then, yeah, the lights on this hydroponics was controlled by this little electronic gizmo back here, also from the web, so I can control the lights and the pumps remotely. So that was kind of handy. I should make a video on how to do all that fun stuff. And I'm by no means an expert, but I really enjoy playing with it and making it work. Something that makes it really easy, sparkfun.com, they have what's called the Thing, and that makes it super easy. I was doing it with that ESP, whatever it was. I'll have to put it up in the video. But I was using those, but those are a huge pain in the butt if they're not just perfect. And SparkFun did a really good job making them perfect. It's like 18 bucks for the Thing, and you got basically an Adreno with the Wi-Fi built in, and it's a pretty handy little piece. So I've been using those lately, and they've really helped out. So anyway, this is what's going to be transplanted here shortly as soon as I get the pH down into the greenhouse. So what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 tomato plants. So I'll have to make those work. So just in case my digital pH meter was wrong, because I've been adding a lot of acid. I'm now up to 6 total pipettes full. It's a lot of water, and it's like a logarithmic scale or something like that to get it down, so it's going to take a little bit. Freaking tap water. Anyway, you can see it's about 6.5, and that's what the digital says as well. So I got 2 confirmations that it's roughly a 6.5. I need to get down at least another 0.5 for everything to be happy. And then I'll go ahead and transplant the plants. Okay, I got the first tomato plant transplanted. And I just tied I can't remember what the name of that knot is. Basically a slip knot. To go over there, I need to 3D print some actual tomato plant holders, but not right now. But anyway, I got that slip knotted there, and I got this slip knotted here, so it's essentially straight up and down. And wrapped around here. I don't know why I did that, didn't have to, just because I had extra string. And then I put a zip tie halfway down and then just pulled to make tight. So as this thing grows, I'll just continue to pull, and then I'll have to redo it eventually, but I got to redo it anyway and 3D print some holders so the plant doesn't get damaged. But this is nice loose slip knot right now, just holding it up. But that's the first one, and more to come. Alright, just got the black bucket out here. It's got new grommet in there and new piping, and it's filling up now. Just got the perlite in there, so it's doing its thing. I got 2 of my old tomato plants in here, and they're all full wilty at the moment. Transplanting sucks sometimes. Same thing, this one's actually the biggest one I have, but yeah, he's all wilty at the moment. I don't know if they're going to survive the whole transplant process. And there's this one right here, so I got them all kind of perched up at the moment. Once they start perking up, if they perk up, I'll readjust all the strings. And I got to print some stuff anyway to grab hold of them. But a little on the wilty side. We'll see what happens. And yeah, these don't look entirely all that great. But who knows? New environment, they may be real happy. So I was thinking with this one, instead of transplanting that other one, which may or may not make it, it's probably the worst looking out of all of them. I was thinking about just growing from seed in this one. Maybe instead of doing starts like these other ones were, they were originally started in little dirt cups, go ahead and do seed in this one and see what happens. That way they're starting from scratch in this environment. I wonder if they will do better than the others. In which case I may just pull these out and do the same thing. But we'll see. I'll go ahead and do some seed and see what happens. So these here, if I can get in the sun maybe. These here are Roma heirloom tomato seeds. I'll show you the package here in just a second. But I'm just going to dump 1 or 2 of these, just put my finger in there, basically plant them and see what happens. Who knows? Might get lucky. Okay, here's the Roma tomato package. Nicholas Garden Nursery, that was up in Portland, Oregon, or I guess just south of Portland, Oregon. Really neat place. We used to go there quite a bit to get seeds and stuff. But we'll see what happens with these. Just an experiment. Might be great, might be bad, I don't know. By the way, the pH is now at 5.9, nearly perfect, and it took 22 pipettes of the acid to get it to where it's supposed to be. Amazing amount. But anyway, 5.9, pretty darn great. Okay, it is now getting to be fairly late in the afternoon, and see how things are. This is where we planted the tomato seed. This is still moist, which is nice. Should be a good atmosphere or a good environment for the tomato seed. Kind of just planted like about 6 different little pockets in here, and of course I'll have to separate them once they start maturing a little bit. But for right now, this will work real good. So that's that one. Those are the Roma tomato seeds. These right here are not happy. They're super wilty. They did not like the transplant process at all. Not sure what to do about that. Make sure this is good and hydrated. But and then this one was my biggest one. He's also not happy. He's looking a little bit better than he was a little earlier this afternoon. He's actually starting to perk up just a hair. But yeah, they're not fans of the whole replanting thing. And actually this one's starting to perk up a little bit too. This is my other big one that was inside the black bucket with this one right here. And it is also perking up a little bit better. They were really bad a few hours ago. We went away and I got a couple more fans to put in the greenhouse. Just these 2 fans, this one coming in and that one leading out, have actually done really well. We were getting quite a bit of condensation in here, and that's actually kind of done the trick. I figure 2 more, one more for in and one more for out, and we shouldn't have any problems with airflow. So don't have any potential issues with moisture and mold. So get that taken care of. I also got some better adapters here that were more meant for these. So this right here, I already showed you a little bit of this, but so this is, I think, onions, and she does not have any little deals on here. I don't know what that stuff is. So we got green onion there, peppers there, radishes all the way through here. These things are growing like little banshees. And get out of here, bug. And we got chives here, basil, dill, lettuce. That one's plentiful. Got some thyme, some more basil, some cumin. I have no idea what that thing is. Marigone? No clue. Catnip for the kitty. BB will like that, I'm sure. Snow peas. What the heck is that? Oh, zucchini. More tomatoes, don't know what kind. Some sort of beans. What's this here? Anise, fennel, and some other thing. Oh, bok choy. So anyway, we're going to have quite the spread. Oh, and this was an experiment. This is the top of a pineapple. And we saw online that you can cut off the top and peel back a bunch of layers and put it in water and it'll grow into a pineapple. So we're giving that a shot. And that's been in the house for the last couple of weeks, and we decided to put it out here so it actually gives them real light and hopefully it'll actually do something. So anyway, got the air pump down here at the moment, not the final destination for it. But that 10-inch air wall, air stone thing is working really, really well. The pump that I got is tremendous. I mean, I got water pressure out the butt over here. And I guess that would be an enema, wouldn't it? Anyway, I still have to do something about this, but we didn't end up going to Lowe's or Home Depot today, so I didn't get anything there. There's no leaks. Everything looks spectacular, except for the plants, of course. But they should perk up in a day or two. Oh, yeah, and we got more tomatoes there. In fact, those are looking pretty darn good. So, and I don't know. Oh, cucumbers in this one. That's what it is. And we do have a filter So this is currently off the household's water, and then it comes in through this filter that we had, and that's what actually is going into all these different plants and going into the reservoir. So it's not as terrible as it could be, I suppose, not as hard of water as it could be. It probably doesn't do a whole heck of a lot, but it's better than nothing. The real reason for the filter is when we have the, I don't know if you can see the blue there, those are 2 barrels. We had to throw them over there in the corner because we had a heck of a windstorm, huge gusts, and they ended up blowing over, and we were wondering if our greenhouse was going to make it, but it made it spectacularly. It didn't have a lick of problem. Even with that amount of wind, with this curved design, everything just rolled right over top of it. We were pretty happy about it. But anyway, the barrels, of course, they're light. They don't have anything in them at the moment. So they took off down the yard. So we had to get them, put them over there where they're kind of shielded, put a brick on top of them. But eventually we want to get those back over here, get them filled with rainwater, and probably from something. I haven't decided how I want to do it yet. It's going to be like a gutter system, not attached directly to the greenhouse, but probably a freestanding thing, but it's still getting the water from the side of the greenhouse on both sides. Not quite sure I'm going to do it yet, but I don't want to attach anything physically to the greenhouse because it's plastic. I mean, it's not made to last forever, and I don't want to shorten its lifespan if I can help it. Anyway, so I'll get those gutters in place. That'll fill the rain barrels. The rain barrels will come in through the filter here and go into the nutrient reservoir. So at any rate, oh, and this is the light, which I don't have plugged in at the moment. You get these things over at Costco for like 30 bucks or less, 25 maybe. But they're LED and they're super, super bright. They're fantastic lights. This is like the 4th one we got. We got 2 of them in the garage, 1 of them in the pantry, and then this one right here. So fantastic lights. And I doubt we'll need a ton in here, but every once in a while we got to be able to come out here at night. So anyway, that's the close of the day. I'll finish up this video and get it uploaded as soon as I can, and see how things go. Next thing I'm working on is those 2 more fans, and then get this electrical situation taken care of, and hopefully the tomato plants make it.